Genji 2 is an action game which is based on Japanese history. Being based on history, the stages of the game will also be based on famous battles which actually took place in ancient Japan. So here's this giant enemy crab.
Did you remember what episode we're on now?
I almost said 5. We're on 6 already.
Oh my god. He ran out of fingers.
Giant enemy crab.
Somehow I lost a bunch of fingers.
No, he's only counting with one hand. Where do I go from here?
The other hand or your feet?
He just starts
there's
counting.
options.
There's options.
Where I go, no. Where I go from there is the introduction to the Giant Enemy Crab podcast. Welcome. It's episode 6. I knew that from the bottom of my heart. I was prepared.
Yes.
Aren't you proud of me?
The bottom of your heart or the bottom of your
Thank
hand?
You. Don't talk about my deformed hands like that. I'll slap you with my 3 fingers. I'm joined by the lovely KylarEmiya.
Hello.
And our good friend Tsun. And our resident lore expert Strider.
Hello. What the word?
Dude, every time we have something, you always know all the extra stuff. It's actually pretty cool. I like having somebody that knows the backstory of stuff. We're here to bring you gaming news. And I think Kylar has something special to tell us about. But before we do that, I'm going to go first so nobody steals my news. First off, I guess it's the only, I'm looking at something else that's even interesting. League of Legends player suspended for streaming inappropriate behavior with a stuffed bear. That's not the news, though.
Oh my Get out of here.
Nothing good comes from League. The news I have is from VGC video, another video game news site. You know what? You can read all the gaming news you want. We're just here to tell you the stuff that we find. Like we're not at the forefront. All right. We're just entertaining ourselves and you, hopefully.
Now, Liz is always out there prowling for more news, doing interviews on the scene.
Yeah, I got like the little box with the mic hookup to it, and I'm just asking like MAGA Republicans what they think of Biden, and then posting TikToks that everybody laughs at. Anyways,
gaming.
Gaming, yes, gaming. Speaking of gaming. We actually, I saw this today, and it was reported on by like Bloomberg actually reported on it as well. But Saudi Arabia has, since they finalized a 12-year deal to host esports Olympics.
Oh,
and
that was not a location I'd expect for that. I'm gonna be completely honest.
Well, there's a little bit of a history there, right? So apparently the inaugural event will be happening next year, and it will be the first Olympic licensed esports event, which is kind of crazy. Like, I mean, I guess if curling is an Olympic sport, I can see League being an Olympic sport. There's a little bit more going on there. I guess
I don't even know. Do we know like what is going to be like, presented?
Fighting games.
No, nothing.
There's only like a few that I can imagine. Like a lot of some of the big titles like Call of Duty, Dota, or League. And
what else would you need?
I'm just curious on whether it's going to be like all of them or they're going to have like a select few. Like what? I don't even know how that would work.
I mean, you would just have I don't see why you wouldn't just take like the 3 biggest games for the inaugural year and just do those and see how that works. You're not going to do like niche stuff, or I doubt there'll be a fighting game, although there should be. But the FGC kind of has its own shit going on.
Yeah,
like Evo.
Yeah,
which is coming up.
Like there are other tournaments,
which is coming up next week.
Is it really?
It's next week.
Oh, good. We have something to talk about. Oh, nice. I'm excited for that. Anyways, so apparently this is brought to you by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, PIF, and they've been doing a bunch of investments in the gaming industry for quite a while now.
Yeah.
And they kind of just, I guess it's just something that they looked into and just decided to go full into. I guess 58% of the population is like recognized gamers. Like I guess Saudi Arabia has big gaming going on.
Huh.
They are currently the largest outside stakeholder in Nintendo with 8.3%.
Oh, that's a lot.
They bought 2 years ago esports tournament company ESL and merged it with another gaming platform called Faceit for $1.5 billion. So far, I had the number here. They have invested $38 billion into gaming in the past couple of years. And I think the global gaming market I'm seeing it's like 184 billion. So they're a big chunk of it right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not quite sure what it'll bring, but that's just kind of, it went from video games are for in my lifetime, you can play Tetris on your Game Boy, but video games are for dorks, to like tournaments, to like schools having clubs and classes devoted to gaming, to actions per minute schools in other countries. And now we're like trying to make it an actual Olympic sport. So I'm about it. I'm interested because I don't care about regular. What?
Is it actually happening right now?
2025.
I think the 2024 Esports World Cup is happening right now in Saudi Arabia.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, then my news is bad.
It's actually
happening. Do you have anything on that?
I was looking it up because but apparently it was this year was the first year there is a Esports World Cup in Saudi Arabia. It started July 3rd and it apparently goes all the way to the 25th. And purse is like $62.5 million right now.
How did we not hear about any of this?
But apparently,
I didn't see anything about it either.
But apparently,
I've been like invested in gaming news. I haven't seen anything.
I completely missed. I missed this. I missed the announcement for next year. But yeah, no. Apparently, I think this was the first year. First edition of the Esports World Cup.
Nice. Do you have any idea what games there are?
I'm checking right now. But apparently, okay. So there's a list here. We've got Apex Legends, Call of Duty Warzone, Counter-Strike 2, Dota, Fortnite, EA Sports, Garena Free Fire, Honor of Kings, Mobile Legends Bang Bang.
I forgot that existed.
League of Legends, Overwatch 2, PUBG Battlegrounds and PUBG Mobile, Siege, Rocket League, Rensport, StarCraft 2, Street Fighter 6, Teamfight Tactics, and Tekken 8.
So to answer your question, Kyler, all the games are going to be there.
This
is kind of cool. Where can I might have to check some of this out after the podcast and kind of see what we're working with. It's got to be televised somewhere.
Sizzles.
Well, excuse the Discord noise that just popped up on the recording.
I'm surprised you don't have this muted.
I thought about it and I forgot how to do it. And I just said, whatever. It probably won't happen. That's cool though. Yeah, I'll maybe we'll do some more reporting on it next week when we find out a little bit more. I didn't realize it was actually happening now.
Yeah, esports is tough too. Like it's hard to do. A lot of companies don't know how to do it very well. That's why you see like Overwatch failed at it pretty spectacularly.
So what's the problem?
So some people, it struggles with the idea of a lot of companies will try to do it how regular sports is supposed to be done. And it just doesn't work as well. One of them being stress on the actual players, because what Overwatch tried to do was have teams actually go to different locations. Like they travel like across the world. You'd have like a home and attacking, or a defending team and a attacking team and all this other stuff. And it just became really difficult just on the players themselves. And another issue became the owners of the teams. Eventually, the financial burden was put onto them to actually have their players go to all these locations when they're already spending like tens of millions of dollars just to actually establish the team and have it be a part of the esport itself. I remember that was a huge issue when they went to Hawaii to do it. Blizzard had told them that they have to pay for like all the onboarding and everything for them to actually go and actually do their matches, which is like crazy. Like, why would you charge them so much money and then just suddenly have them pay for everything else on top of that too, when they already had to pay all their players and stuff too? Like, you're hosting the event. It should be something that you would pay for.
I've noticed that there's been like, well, when I did hear about it, it seemed like there was a lot of, it's not regulated very well at all. And there's a lot of mismanagement of teams and, you know, corrupt management going on where they just steal all the money. The other part of that that's kind of stupid is like a big draw to gaming is that you don't, I know people want to play with no latency, but like the draw to it is that I can play with people around the world and not have to leave my house. Right. Yeah. So why not just do that? Why do all the traveling and all the like, just say, okay, we're both playing on bad latency.
Yeah. That was another issue
what it is
with like visas and everything, getting players from like Korea or China and trying to get them to the US. Kind of difficult to manage that many people. It created problems, especially just scrimming too. Just trying to practice alone is just a huge hurdle logistically from how they wanted to do it.
I remember there were rules because I was listening to, there's another podcast I used to listen to. God, Al got me on it. The Concept. It's League of Legends podcast. I can't remember the name of it right now, but it's really good if you're like into competitive league, and it's all sorts of great stuff. But they talk about like they were professional league players for a while and how they'd have to travel. So they get into that every once in a while. And there's there's rules now where like, and I might have to do my research a little bit. I remember them saying like you have to have like, if your team is in America, you have to have like 2 American players, because the problem was everybody's just like, let's get all the Korean players on every team.
Yeah.
And it became like, who am I even rooting for at this point? You know, am I really, I'm rooting for like Double Lift or who's the other guy that everybody loves? Faker. I'm rooting for Faker, and that's about it. Like, I don't know.
That's what made the Overwatch one so funny. It was like the only esport I actually paid attention to. But like you'd have like the Dallas team, all Korean players. Like, oh, okay, that's kind of weird. They had a World Cup where they actually divided players by region, which was way more interesting. And the Chinese teams too were actually all from China. And this is part of where you see like how this could be really cool, because each region kind of had their own like strategies and team compositions that would kind of clash together. That was awesome. But eventually it just became everyone's doing the same thing all the time. And it became really boring.
It was weird listening to like the league starting their thing, because they were like, yeah, people didn't even know what lane swapping was. And like the first teams that did it were like in awe. Now it's just you have to or you lose.
Yeah.
You know, but back when it was it was a different time.
No, I hope they do some really cool stuff with the Olympic one, though. There's a ton of different like strategies they can do to help with viewership, because that tends to be the number one issue, is actually trying to like show people what's happening is a problem. So I'm curious how it's going to go down.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll keep you updated in the future as we learn more. But that's exciting to me. What you got, Mr. Strider?
A few different things. GDQ finished, or SGDQ specifically finished, and they managed to raise over $2.5 million.
Let's go.
The speedrunning event that happens
from all the cringe compilations I've seen.
Yep.
That's funny.
Yeah,
but they do good things.
Yep, they raised $2.5 million for cancer with Doctors Without Borders.
Good for them. That's dope.
Which I think is one of their highest, I believe.
Nice.
That they've done, because I think they've been on an upwards trend of they get more and more each year.
I mean, they, like physically they would have to, I would assume, just due to inflation. But even so, that's still quite an accomplishment.
As long as it's not declining.
Yeah. Well, who cares? I mean, they're still doing good regardless of how much money is there, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's a cool number, though. Good for them. Well,
Another thing is on a different note is Hoyoverse. Hoyoverse? Is it? I think it's Hoyoverse. But the guys behind the devs behind Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail released a new mobile game slash
I
new
just
free-to-play
saw
game,
something on that.
and it's already surpassed 50 million downloads in like I think just over a week.
But I read it was
game?
lackluster. Though.
Zenless Zone is 0.
Oh yeah.
well,
Yeah.
that just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it?
I kind of read it like, well, I didn't actually read the article too thoroughly, but like he was saying it was lackluster or something.
I don't know.
I've gotten a lot of
mobile
ads
game,
about
right?
the game. It just screams, oh, it's Genshin.
I've only just learned that it was a thing.
It's like a very like basic action or like stylus action character game. Because I played it for a day. I wanted to try it out to see how it was.
Was it cool?
And it definitely oozes style. Like the style is one of the things that's like most notable about the game is just how the its style
Just went to
like
the site and
oozes
it
from the
blasted my
music,
ears.
the menus to basically the entire presentation was top notch, especially for like a mobile game. Which definitely
Yeah.
and
That doesn't surprise me. Just because they've already made like what Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail. Did they
Yep.
do what's it called? Third Impact? Oh god. I can't
Honkai
keep
Third
track.
Impact,
That one, yes.
I believe.
They did that too.
That was
'Cause it seems like a
before Genshin.
very
Yeah.
it's before Genshin, I think. It's all very similar art style, and it looks good. Because I played Genshin before, I just got kind of bored with it. It is
Yep.
interesting how the game is more of like a traditional RPG, but has
It's not really an RPG. It's more like something like it's very basic, like Devil May Cry is the way I would describe it.
well more that I mean. It doesn't feel like it's a mobile game.
Oh no, the game's like
which
Honkai?
is yeah, or
Yeah,
no,
no,
Genshin Impact.
Oh, Genshin. I mean, I would say Honkai doesn't feel like one either.
Yeah,
I,
I'm not
Genshin
sure.
is I don't have much kind things to say about Genshin. I tried it because I was like super interested in, I wanted a game I could play on Steam or, on PC and on mobile. My phone almost lit on fire. It wasn't really good for that.
I like your card
And then
games.
playing, well, yeah, I do. I love my card games. Don't give me shit.
It's
Bust out a blue eyes on
I'm
you,
not giving you
dumbass.
shit. I'm saying that's generally what you like.
Yeah, but I wanted to try something else, and I was not a fan of how. Yeah, I think I'm too old.
Too old.
I'm just too old for. I don't want to be a little whatever. I don't know what was going on.
It just felt like worse Breath of the Wild. That's how I felt when I was playing it. It's like this just
It
feels
felt-
like Breath of the Wild, but just kind of worse.
Super basic.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But
what-
people seem to like it.
the fucking absurd thing about Hoyoverse, I think it's Hoyoverse. I don't remember what company, the company, but it's just how fast they churn stuff out for their games. Like there's major updates like every 6 weeks.
Yeah, they're pretty fast.
Yeah.
Which is like the big thing for like these free to play games is that they have to have a constant like stream of new content. Yep.
Yeah.
And they're churning out like sizable updates every 6 weeks. I believe is the release schedule for like all of their games.
I mean, that's what keeps League alive is the constant updates.
Yep.
Yeah.
Every game that's had that huge life, well, that's not true. I mean, Minecraft and some of the, I guess, multiplayer competitive games. I don't know. Okay, we'll just say that
life
is a huge
service
factor.
games is what
Yeah.
needs this constant update. Like other genres are usually okay not having an update like on this every other week or every 6 weeks. But
Well, I think the
Yeah,
other thing
when-
that helps the game so much is like the amount of content creators that they have, and also that Hoyoverse works so directly with them too. And it has So it sort of has issues because there's a ton of drama that happens all the time that I run into. I see it, and I don't even play the games, and I see it. But drama is just more, it's more content. It's more reasons to actually get into the game because like who all the big players are, and you start attaching the game to like all these other people. And yeah, that's why Genshin and all these other games are so huge, is because they work so well with their content creators. And they release all these updates so consistently too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I won't play those.
I might give
interest.
that one a try just out of curiosity.
Even that one you guys were talking about, Blue Protocol, is that what it is? I was looking at it.
We never got to play that because that's not a thing anymore.
I mean,
Is that, well, it'll be a thing eventually, right?
We don't know because remember the publisher that made it was Bandai Namco Online. They're gone now.
And they declared the bankruptcy.
But it just looks like Genshin to me. I don't know. That art style is just so plain Jane to me. I don't need it. All right.
I mean, it's just generic anime style, I guess.
Yeah, it's less that really. Well, part of it is that, I don't care much for that. And the other part of it is like the open worlds always feel so empty, and you're just kind of running from one place to the next with nothing in between.
Mm-hmm.
That just I'm kind of over that in my life. It's why I'll never go back to even Assassin's Creed is better about it, but yeah, just big open worlds where nothing's really going on except what you're supposed to do. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, the few open world ones I've enjoyed would be like Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah,
I love that game.
I still got to play it.
That game is so good. It feels like everywhere you go, there's something to do.
There's a reason to explore.
Yeah, yep. There's storylines everywhere. That one's so enjoyable. That's what I'm curious about, how the new Star Wars Outlaws is going to be, because it's extremely huge open world. And from what we saw, it doesn't seem, I don't know. It doesn't seem very interesting.
I mean, it's an Ubisoft game, so I don't think it'll be terrible. I just don't know if it'll be great.
Remarkably mediocre.
I wouldn't even say mediocre, like just solid. It's the perfect.
Is Ubisoft, are they the ones notorious for like deluxe, legacy, super ultimate pack? Like you can buy like 10 different versions of the
DLC packs, and also
they always have
like
their free versions of like basic deluxe collectors usually.
Mm-hmm. All right. I think you got anything else, or
there was Suicide Squad Season 2 was delayed a mere 2 days before it was supposed to launch, and now it's launching like 2 weeks from now on the 25th.
Do you know anybody who's played that?
Fortunately, no. But
is it coming free on Amazon or something?
Amazon on the 16th and 17th, I believe it will be one of their 3 games they're giving away.
I think it was the 16th to 18th. So you got like 2 days to grab it.
Y'all want to play Suicide Squad together?
Dude, if I can get it for free, I'll grab it. I don't care.
All right, I'm gonna be the shark.
You want to be what was the shark's name?
I'm a shark. King Shark.
King Shark. He had another name too. Was it Nimue or something like that?
Sylvester Stallone.
No, that's the actor name.
I can't win.
Oh,
I'll definitely jump on that for a day and see if it's something I'll uninstall.
Actually, on that note, doubling back to Ubisoft. Ubisoft had to apologize for some stolen imagery for Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Oh hell yeah!
Because apparently they used a flag for a reenactment group of a group that reenacts I think some important battle from the Sengoku era, but they have a flag. The flag that was used for the imagery in preview and is also in the collector's guidebook is actually just theirs. It's not a actual flag from history. It's their flag. It's like the Tengoku or something rifle corps is the name of the group. And
That's not good.
And so they apologize and like they'll take it out of everything but the collector's book because we already have that printed. We apologize for this. And the group told them, take it out of the art book. We don't want it in there either.
Oh, jeez.
So they're going to have the group is calling for them to remove their flag from even the collector's book that they've already printed. Their art book.
Yeah, they're fucked. What are they going to do? Like it's so blatant that you can't argue to any judge or court that like, no, that was somewhere. I promise.
Like
especially because they already admitted to it that they did was wrong.
They're cooked on that.
Oh yeah.
On that note, it's kind of video game adjacent, but that's the Assassin's Creed with is it Yasuke?
Yeah, Yasuke.
The Black Samurai?
Yep.
Yeah.
I saw a little bit on that. I needed to do more research, but from what I gather, that's all bullshit.
Yes.
Like this mystical black samurai who, like it only started appearing around like the early 90s in lore. And like, it's all, if you thought like this is some old Jap, no, it's just some marketing garbage. It's all fake.
Yasuke existed. He was not a samurai, but he was in Nobunaga as an employee.
He was a black guy in Japan.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like it didn't happen.
Right, a legend.
It's not like that was impossible. Like,
I know,
unlikely,
that's what I'm saying.
Possible.
But it's believed that it's like most likely he was not a samurai. He was just he had some specific role under Nobunaga's employee.
Yeah,
but
I mean, I think it's fine. Like they just made the character based off of like a real historical.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
It's just that I didn't know that it was. It's treated as if it's a thing, like a real thing that happened. From everything I've seen there was like a Netflix cartoon or something. There's the new game coming out. I see it popping up more and more.
Yeah, people gave Ubisoft a lot of shit for it, and I don't think it's deserved because I think it's just the devs trying to make a video game and then just basing it on historical records, and there's nothing wrong with that. Because I remember seeing tons of claims of all this crazy stuff about it, and then when you actually look into it, like there's nothing wrong. Like they didn't do anything crazy, so I don't know. It seems like it's all pumped up just to cause drama.
Oh, yeah. Well, anyway, that's neither here nor there. Just something I thought was interesting. So you did some research, Mr. Kyler.
I did.
You told us not to look at a thing, and so none of us did. So we're all going blind into your. I know this is a special report. By the homie Kyler.
It's a small little rabbit hole. It's about a dev stream about a video game that happened a couple weeks ago now about some new technology that might make MMOs kind of crazy. It's about one that's been in development for like 8 years. It's called Ashes of Creation. So this is an MMO that I think you would love, Liz, because
I hate things notoriously.
When we play like Final Fantasy or like other MMOs, anything, you love PvP combat.
Yes.
And Ashes of Creation is all about open world PvP combat.
Okay.
And it does it extremely smart from what I can read, if it's true. And this is where it gets kind of wild. So it's a super ambitious project where the idea is you have this massive game world that runs on what's called a node system, which other games have done before. But basically, as players are questing around, when they do it near these nodes, the quests they do start to affect the nodes, and the world actually changes around it, where it starts to create like a specific type of town. And as players keep doing stuff, depending on what they do, it will either unlock or lock different quest lines and dungeons associated with the area.
All right.
So very dynamic world. From there, once like these towns and stuff start getting built because of this, players can start building housing, start electing mayors and do different politics, right? And it seems pretty cool. But let's say there's a quest line you and your guild buddies got to do in that town over there. But it's only available under a different like type of node faction and
Or
not
type
the
of
one that's
instance?
there right now. Nope, there's no instance. What you do is you declare war on that town, and there's a massive PvP battle triggered to see if you can defeat the town and all the players that live there.
It sounds very interesting, but also like not real. Like this sounds
Yeah.
like one of those things that you a game company would tout as coming out. This is some No Man's Sky bullshit.
If it-
Where
Yeah.
they're like, this is all the stuff we can do, and then when you actually see it, it's like, well, some characters have negative karma and some have positive.
If
and
it-
it affects your shop prices.
If it is real, though, we're about to see Fliz go into his Warmonger arc.
Oh man.
Yeah. And here's what's crazy is the way that they want to accomplish this is one, it's a very large map. So there's lots of nodes. So it doesn't happen like constantly. It's just kind of one of those things that happens every now and then. There is no instancing in the game besides select dungeons or raids. So like very intentional.
And what is
Everything else-
instancing for everybody's
Oh, instancing. So as an example, if you are transitioning from outside, just kind of chilling out in the plains and you go to a town in an MMO, many times the town will ask you before you enter which instance you would like to join. And it shows like a bunch of player populations. And this
Mhm.
is done just to handle server load, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
But what it ends up doing is you and someone else could be technically standing in the same spot in a town, but because you're in a separate instance or a separate server, essentially, you guys don't ever see or interact with each other.
It helps with the congestion and like just
Yes.
clutter.
It's kind of
Yeah.
cool to think that something like in these basic video games, there's like constant parallel universes going on.
Oh yeah, and pretty much every MMO does this in some way.
Yeah.
ESO does layering where it's instances, but the game never tells you that it is.
I think WoW
you
does
will
the
never, Yeah, you will never know. WoW does this as well. All there is just realms that you join, and from there it's just layered. Ashes of Creation boasts one realm. There is no layering or instancing happening unless you are specifically going to a dungeon with friends. And even then, sometimes there's still open world. So there's none of that will ever happen. And they expect the actual like PvP battles to happen like up to 100 or 200 versus 200 players.
I'm cool with that. I like big fights.
You
And
know,
the combat is not like FF14 really like laggy. This is like visceral in real time action.
it makes me think of Planet Side, which is one of those great ideas that never really felt great.
I still like Planetside. It's janky, but I like its jankiness.
Well, that's exactly what it just never felt good to play Planet Side. You know, I like the core concepts there,
Yeah.
but it didn't work, in my opinion. Some people love it. I'm sure there's Planet Side defenders out there. But
It
the
worked.
lag and
Yeah.
congestion and like either congestion or sparseness of everything that was going on was like noticeable.
I'm very glad you said that because Planetside 2 is a very old game that did something similar to this, where you had these massive, huge battles. And a lot of the devs from Planetside 2 are on the team for Ashes of Creation.
I'm so smart.
Yeah.
Big brain.
Big brain.
Because
So it's
this is a
good.
game being made in Unreal Engine 5. So this is a pretty graphically intense game. So if you can get this many players together, this would look actually insane. And they had a stream just last week, or 2 weeks ago now, I believe, showing some of the more technical aspects, which they do sometimes, but this was with the network topology that they're going for. So the first thing they're showing is how they actually plan to do this. One is via server meshing, where they're going to divide the map, the world map, into a grid of servers, right? So
Okay.
every like section of the map is its own server, and they introduced and created a technology that allows you to like just walk between the borders with no load screens. There are no load screens in Ashes of Creation. And they have video of this. This like works perfectly fine.
Does it work with a full server?
They've already done alpha playtests of this, and it works, is what they've said.
Why have this has been going on for 8 years? Why have I never heard of this?
Well, MMOs just in general are a very niche genre for the most part. And also this is indie led. It's actually being funded and supported by just one person.
Elon Musk.
Pretty much, which we'll go over that too.
Okay.
This is where it gets kind of crazy because server meshing has been a thing for like years. Tons of MMOs and other technologies use it already. What they're introducing to help make this actually possible to have these big battles is dynamic server meshing. So what this means is, let's say you're on like a server in this little plot of server land, right? If you get enough people in like the top left corner of that little square that represents that server, right? What will happen is it will suddenly divide itself and recruit more servers to kind of devote processing power to handle the player base.
Okay.
And the idea is when we have these large scale battles, the way that we stop the lag is just we will dynamically allocate more and more servers in order to actually process what's going on.
All right.
And this is a technology that we have not been able to do yet. And Star Citizen, which is popular for being one of the most well-funded, crowdfunded games of all time, has been trying to do this for years and has not been able to do it.
Is it just a technological issue, or
yes, yeah,
okay.
they can't figure out how to do it. Now, there's some caveats with this because there are lots of fights going on with how Star Citizen, like, you know, they can't do it, but somehow Ashes of Creation is just out of the blue, out of nowhere, is kind of crazy. How Star Citizen is trying to do it is much more advanced than what Ashes of Creation has done. So it's a lot easier for them to try to do it. It's just less effective in a way. But it's definitely possible.
Gotcha.
Right. And the scale of this game is also has been called into question multiple times because just the node system itself sounds crazy, right?
Yeah.
Guess how many classes there are in Ashes of Creation?
1.
64.
Oh, I like that.
64 classes. Right.
I like that seems so egregious for something that doesn't even really exist yet, you know? Like that seems like stuff you'd roll out later on and not work on right away. It seems like the technology you're going for seems like it'd be number one, right?
Oh yeah.
And classes, you'd have 8 classes, and then over time, like it just seems backwards. But sorry, what were you saying?
Is it 64 unique classes, or is it something along the lines of like you have a choice between a certain number and you pick a few, and then when them combined, you have your quote unquote new class?
It's the combined thing.
Yes, it's an archetype system that
8x8. I'm assuming.
Yeah, but it's an archetype system that ends up with 64 kind of unique character classes. They're all relatively similar in the end. They just have their niche. So it's not super crazy, but at the end of the day, you still have a unbelievable amount of abilities you need to make with effects that you have to create too. And there's even more with like how the housing system works, the guild system. There's guild buildings you can make on the world, and you can have like destructible environments and have wars with other guilds. It's insane.
Destructible environments always scares me because it's just like it's one of those things that so many games have promised that they've been like, sorry, this isn't going to work for us.
Yeah,
and it ends up being a bad deal.
But we've seen what Unreal Engine 5 can do, and it can do these things. That's the other thing too. Is a lot of these MMOs, the engines that they're on simply limit them. That's how Final Fantasy 14 kind of is too.
Can my computer do those things? Like
that's another thing in question. We'll have to see. I don't know, to be honest with you. But It is such a huge, ambitious project that a lot of people wonder, like, is this real? Is it a scam?
Me too.
I mean, here's the other thing. You said it's on Unreal Engine 5, right?
It is going to be
It's
now, yes.
But it's been in development for 8 years. And what?
Yes.
Unreal Engine 5 is what? I think officially like just about 2-3 years old.
That's because they made it in 4, and they're going to be making the rest of it in 5. So they still have to convert it to 5 now, which lengthens the production time and how long it's going to take to actually create it, which makes it feel like more of a scam.
Do they have a cash shop already?
Yes, and this is what's also crazy.
Oh no!
They've had
these
alpha
20
tests.
questions.
Yeah,
they've just nailing it.
They've had alpha tests, and in order to get the alpha test, to get a key for it, which is not available right now, it was only available, I think, back in 2021.
What? Fucking do
it cost $500.
Yeah,
there it is.
Yep.
Is this a scam?
Yeah.
This sounds like Star Citizen. But medieval Star Citizen is what this sounds like. Because it's going to be
crazy.
How well can you deliver on this? And in how long? Like, maybe I'll get to play Ashes of Creations for my fucking retirement home. Is what I'm guessing right now.
Yeah, it's crazy because they release gameplay. They have dev streams where they show off the new stuff that they're doing. And like you can do that. But so does Star Citizen as well. So it's kind of like, okay, I can't tell if this is actually coming out or what's going on. And then you look into the founder of the Ashes of Creation team, the person who started it all, Steven Sheriff. And this is where it gets fucky. Because he's very rich. I shouldn't say rich. He has a lot of money. He, I think, has personally funded.
What's the difference?
What's the difference?
It depends on your definition of rich, because he's put $35 million into the development of this game.
Sounds like he's pretty rich.
Yeah.
I don't know what definition.
Well, when you have games that cost, $600 million.
But those aren't funded by one person.
Yeah, you're talking about a single funded man, dude.
I'm sorry, we're going way off topic. I'm just giving you shit. Continue.
But this is just allegedly, because we haven't seen checks going through. This is just what people are saying that he's put in. But Steven Sheriff is supposed to be a very wealthy person who's tried to create this game. He's also been known for being very passionate about MMOs. There are people that have gone on Reddit and say that they know Steven Sheriff.
This is good. I like where this is so far.
Yeah, like back in games like ArcAge. And he's also joined streams where he's talked about his issues with MMOs. There's some validity to this because a lot of the people say that he's kind of a piece of shit when it comes to some of the games. He's been described as like a baby rager is the word I've seen used, which sounds like a very kind of old term.
Tank your job.
Yeah.
It's not the first time I've heard that,
but he started making most of his money as as basically a scam artist with the Zango company that started back in 2007 or 8 or so.
I've never heard of it.
What is that?
They were a company that they made multiple products. One of the ones that stands out is a juice that they would sell, where they claim that it would help you lose weight and that it would help with hair loss. And the most egregious one they bring up is they would sell it to cancer patients, telling them that it would help alleviate their symptoms or even help them cure the cancer.
What's this guy's name?
Steven Sheriff.
He's allegedly a shitbag.
Yeah,
that's terrible.
Allegedly. It is. From there, he went on to make a lot of his money in real estate because he took the money that he made there to go into real estate. And then he basically kind of just retired after that, only to come back to try to create Ashes of Creation. So that doesn't help with a lot of the whole, is this a scam? Is it a real game? Yeah, not a great look. But if it is actually coming out, because the devs that are working on this are actual developers. If you look at some of the technologies that they've created, this is real shit. They one of the things that they've done is they've implemented multi-threading into a lot of the networking that they're going to do in Unreal Engine 5, which is a huge deal. That's actually pretty crazy. Multi-threading in games is notoriously difficult. That's why.
Stupid. What's multi-threading?
So multi-threading is basically where you take a CPU that has multiple cores, or even some single core processors are able to do it. And essentially they perform multiple tasks at the same time. So multiple tasks on different threads, multi-threading is a very basic way to explain it.
All right.
Why this is so difficult and why engines like Unreal Engine 5 generally use only one thread to handle game processes is because once a like an operation is in its own thread, it cannot interact with the other threads at the same time. So if you make a mistake in your programming where you have two threads trying to basically do the same thing or interact with the same thing at the same time, they can't coordinate it because they can't see each other, which ends up becoming a huge problem. So it's really complicated. And they were able
they've
to
done it.
Yes, but they've done it is literally what they've said. But we did it anyway. is their exact quote. And that's crazy because they basically took Unreal Engine 5, which is something that like is pre-made, undid how it is supposed to work, and then recompiled it. That's unbelievable. The fact that they were able to do it. And it shows in their tests too on the sheer performance increase that they had afterwards.
Okay. So you said there were alpha testers, right? Like if you bought in?
Yep.
What have they said? Did they actually get to play a game?
Or are they on an NDA?
They are on an NDA.
Of course.
They are on an NDA. And the next playtest is coming out later this year. They said Q4 2024. And it's going to be having the new dynamic server meshing. And they're thinking there's probably going to be a lot more players too.
Nobody broke that NDA to be like, here's a YouTube video anonymously of what
they have
we
YouTube
saw.
videos of gameplay, and like you can look it up and see. Some
is
of
it by
it
the publisher or by the developer, or is it by like a rando?
It's by the developers, I'm pretty sure. It's been like a huge. He's talked about it a lot and really wants it to come out because this is the kind of stuff that like is just a pure passion project kind of thing where they just try things that other game developers just aren't willing to do. Because dynamic server meshing, while it hasn't been done in MMOs, is less of a like a technological issue and more of a why would you? Like when you can just when sharding, layering, and instancing works perfectly fine anyways, it seems like you're just creating more complexity, you know, than solving any real problem.
If it's real, then like awesome. Like I'm all for innovation in the MMO space because it's so stagnant.
Oh yeah. And that's why I think this game is going to be crazy because how it's designed is it's designed to always change because you're going to have people that need to do something somewhere else and there are players in the way of it. and that's what sparks the PvP and sparks fights. There's even world bosses and like climate effects that will also like affect the world too. So even if for whatever reason everything starts becoming static, you have the game will actually force change to happen.
I just have these images like in my head of people in WoW waiting in line to do a quest. Like
Hey,
I'm
man.
sure it won't be that, but like that's my first thought when you talk about this.
Yeah.
Everybody in the same instance and everybody affected by this or the same nodes affected by quests and everybody trying to do the same kind of thing. Like those big long lines of everybody being patient.
Yeah. And that's what also helps with the system is the fact that there are so many nodes. There's supposed to be, I think like it's somewhere around 120 spread across the world. And there is almost no fast travel in the game. You have to move everywhere. And it's all open world PvP as well.
It feels like this game will have to be huge.
Yeah.
As in everybody has to play this game or else it won't work.
Yeah. Yep. And that's why they stress like the server's ability to handle this many players. The design of the game relies on that much player engagement.
Yeah, they need to like, if it's been going on for 8 years and I'm just now hearing about it, I should have picked it up through osmosis somewhere along the line,
Yeah.
And for something that requires that much attention, this should have been like hyped years ago and continued to be so.
I disagree. Just
Yeah.
because marketing is so expensive, it just kind of sounds like a bad idea to try to market the game that early on. Most of the marketing they did was just through content creators, really, and just kind of talking about the game, and also their own Kickstarter that they did too.
Okay.
Yeah, because if I remember correctly, most of the budget that goes towards like game development goes towards marketing. It's like it actually costs more to market the game than to actually create it.
Yeah, that's the same with movies and stuff. The budget is, half of that is marketing.
Yeah, and when you got one guy is kind of backing most of the financial stability of the game, kind of a big ask to try to get people talking about it.
I'm kind of feeling that I'm wrong on that front as well now that we talk about it, because I've seen, streaming plenty of games that I'd never heard about. Suddenly everybody and their grandma owns a copy overnight.
Yep.
Because some big streamer played it and now everybody has to have it. And it's at a fair price and, all the good things. Among Us, Phasmophobia, just any of that
Fucking
stuff.
Helldivers too.
Helldivers. Where do you even see game advertising on it? I mean, nobody has cable anymore, so I don't see it on TV. I hear it from word of mouth pretty much, unless I'm actually looking for something.
YouTube ads is another one. Sometimes they see
Yeah,
stuff
but that's
on
just
there.
all mobile ads. Like the guy who got the eagle shitting in his coffee
I
cup.
showed you that one. That's still one of the weirdest mobile
Did you
ads
see that
I've gotten in
line?
real time, dude.
No.
It is.
We'll have to
so
show it to you. It's great.
It is an ad I ran into like organically. I was just playing a mobile game on my phone. It was like, you want to watch an ad for a little boost? It's like, oh, okay, sure. And then I get flashbanged by this really fucking weird ad.
It's a man is an eagle screams projectile shits and it morphs into him shitting into the coffee cup of a guy who starts telling you about a new mobile game. Never mentions the eagle again. Like it's never. It's
not a
that
ghost.
beginning part. Like if you go look at the YouTube comments, everybody's like, "What happened here? What is the bird?"
Yeah, it's just the bird shits and it's basically creamer in his coffee, and then he's talking about the game. That's it.
Yeah, never mentions it again. He doesn't do anything with the coffee. It's not a game about birds. It's just.
It's like some fake real estate thing.
It's some stupid real estate game. Anyway, that's my my advertisements for games come from YouTube ads, and it's always stuff I don't want to play.
It's funny you mentioned that too, because that's what I was picturing.
I mean,
I really want this game to be real. Like, it seems like such a great idea. Like, there's so many good ideas behind the game, and like you can really see the logic and why they have stuff placed the way they are. Even like how they have it balanced. It's mostly balanced around group dynamics because they expect like these very large scale things to be happening. That they don't worry about 1v1 balancing almost at all.
That's a scary thought.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. I get what you mean.
I don't know if a game that's like, I don't know if I like the idea of a game that's heavily combat focused, but has no 1v1 balancing.
It makes sense if you have like 50v50 battles in a very small area. Like I could totally see where you prefer the group balancing over one person versus another, because it's almost never going to happen.
I don't know, because I did it in WoW. They had big old, it was like 45v45 and bigger, I guess. I remember there were huge battles you'd have and you'd end up 1v1ing people all the time.
Yeah, you'd be like the last two standing and you just duke it out.
Or you'd just be somewhere on the map and you'd run into another person. And it's
Why are you here?
Yeah, like that happened all the time. So that thought is a little.
I mean, the other thing is
perturbing.
like, if you do get caught in a one-on-one scenario and just like the balance is so terrible that it just doesn't feel good to play.
Yeah, like if it balances it out and it's like you're a healer, so here you are, and then you get caught against an assassin and like there's nothing you can do because they didn't prepare for that. That's a little bit of a scary thought. And then you're forced to play a certain way.
Well, I think I don't think in any world should a healer be able to defeat an assassin.
But do you see what I'm saying? It's not about defeating the assassin. It's about that, like, if you're saying they don't gear towards that at all, You know, if you're playing League and you're a healer and you run into an assassin early game, you know, there's a chance you might be able to do some because of the 1v1 balancing.
I'm not sure. I don't think so.
All right. Well, I guess we will see or we won't.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of disagree.
Could all be a scam.
I think it's more that because they have a balance on group dynamics, just encourages group dynamics in the first place, that you kind of avoid those issues.
Mean?
So what I mean is the way that you kind of do everything in the game is designed to be you're doing it with other players. You're trading towns with other players. All the housing is in that town with those players. When you travel, there are caravans that travel around from node to node, town to town. You travel with those caravans with those players.
All right.
And like everything is kind of like with a group of people.
Which is, I mean, I'm just thinking about how many times I've played MMOs and I've just been playing by myself.
Yeah, I like doing solo play every so often.
And this is just not that game. This is a multiplayer game.
But just the idea that it's forcing you. No, I mean, I get that, but like everything is forced multiplayer seems a little. I'm just. This is all like hypothetical. Like I don't really know what this looks like. I'm just kind of playing devil's advocate based on my experience with MMOs.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we'll see. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Like I said, more innovation is better. And if it's something new, so that's cool. Well, I'm not bad talking that at all. I want new things that I've never seen before.
Well, I think it helps a lot because a common complaint among people who play MMOs a lot is that more MMOs are becoming just RPGs instead of MMOs, where you're kind of just playing by yourself in a bubble until you enter like a raid, and then you're kind of just around other people.
Well, even then, like, WoW, you used to have to like find a group to do anything.
Yeah.
Like holistically, like you had to ask in the chat, like, is anybody doing this? Can I join you? And now when I play Final Fantasy, I just queue up for Dungeon Finder and like I say hello to the people that are in the dungeon and I never see them again.
Yeah.
So it is basically, you know, they could be bots. It really, as long as they weren't playing really shitty, like it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is Ashes of Creation is trying to go the opposite way, where they don't want that. They want to go into the more of the multiplayer aspect instead, which I think is honestly pretty good just because there's not really many MMOs that do that right now. I couldn't tell you of a single one because WoW is starting to go less and less towards it. FF14 pretty much doesn't do it at all. Elder Scrolls Online is kind of the closest that I've played when it comes to their PvP of you can just kind of go around and just find like a group of people that are doing something and just try to help them with it. But that has issues of communication where you just can't find other players because there's just not many people playing it, which is really unfortunate.
Yeah, that's kind of what this seems like. It's that it's going to depend on how much the casual player can actually stick with this game. Yeah. And how, because an MMO like this is going to live or die on its casual player base.
Yeah.
Because you're going to need a shit ton of people and you're going to need them to stay. But if you design a game for hardcore players, you're going to absolutely isolate your casual audience, which is going to fundamentally make this game this game will not function without the population that they're envisioning. From just how you've been describing it.
Yeah, from what I can tell, there's lots of I shouldn't say lots. There's ways that you can avoid being attacked or discouraged because for the most part, outside of a lot of the opt-in like scenarios, there isn't too many reasons to just attack people out of the blue, which really helps if you're just a casual player and scared of just getting like attacked while walking or around or something. You know what I mean?
God. I would be such a griefer. As long as the penalty isn't big enough. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And the penalty is from dropping items if you're killed. You do get marked if you kill, like you PK enough people, just that are saying that they're non-combatant people. If you kill enough of them, you do get marked on the server, so people will see you and they know they can kill you without being attacked. And if you die, you actually get XP penalties. It becomes harder to level up, along with durability penalties, and also you lose stuff on death as well.
There's something funny about like this game is PvP oriented, but if you PvP the wrong way, bad news.
Yeah, and that's that thing with the casual audience, to help them just kind of play as well and have to worry about it.
Just simple stuff like if you attack a person below a certain level, problems.
Yeah. So it's interesting. I definitely would want to play it. According to their website, there's not going to be any upfront cost. Just subscription.
It has to be free. It has to be free.
It is going to be subscription based, and I'm guessing there's going to be some free trial or something too, because that's usually how it goes.
Well, you got to get people on it. You can't immediately demand like full price for a game like this.
Yeah. So I'm still excited for it, but I'm curious on how long the development's going to go.
I've been going for a while.
Yeah, it's been going on for a long time, and just the fact of upgrading from UE 4 to 5 alone, that's going to take forever.
And what's that? You were mentioning some other game similarly that was kickstarted, and it's like, is it still kickstarted?
Oh, Star Citizen.
Is that what it is? It's just not a game, and it's supposed to have been for like 10 years.
That game.
You can play it. It just does not live up to a lot of the promises that it tries to do.
It just hit a record for like even more money spent.
I think so. It has like $700 million has been crowdfunded for it. The reason why the dynamic server meshing that they're trying to do is not feasible, or why they can't figure it out, is because one, this is like a galaxy-sized map that they're trying to do essentially, and how would you even begin trying to server mesh a map like that? And that's their first step that they're actually implementing later this year, because they think they figured it out. How they're trying to do the dynamic one is, instead of how Ashes of Creation is doing it, where you have the whole map separated into a grid, and then you just make the squares in the grid smaller if there are more people in that square. Very simple. How Star Citizen wants to do it is, instead of a set grid on the map, you don't change like how many squares there are. You move the borders of the grid around the players, so it constantly changes. So essentially, every group of players is allocated a specific amount of server power, and it moves with them. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
That is, I don't think it's possible either, because there'd be so many issues you'd run into just trying to even determine like how you would separate players, and like what classifies a group of players that needs their own server.
I was gonna say, what happens like would it be all allied on the same server versus another? Like, I'm not quite sure how that would even work and defeat lag problem. But then again, I'm not that guy.
And then to add on to that, in Star Citizen, you can build a capital ship, which is like huge mega ship, right?
Mm-hmm.
A capital ship, they actually give you your own server for your ship.
Yeah.
And it can move. Like, it doesn't stay in one place. It actually moves around. So like, I get sick just thinking about like how you would even go about doing that.
So just when you get close to the ship, it puts you in an instance?
No, it's all seamless.
Huh.
Yeah.
All right. That's cool if it works.
Yeah, and that's what they can't figure out. They can't figure out how to do it. But, if or when they do, that's going to be pretty crazy. I'm sure it'll only cost another $300 million. Just keep giving money to it.
Yeah. Make it the most expensive game in the world. It is, isn't it?
I don't know, actually. It probably is up there. I can't imagine there's many more expensive.
And what was that? What was your game called again? I can't remember. Ashes of Creation.
Yep.
All right. I'm going to have to do some research on a lot of research this episode.
Yeah.
I got to research our own shit.
Yeah. I will say, don't Don't buy the keys to try and get in this alpha, is what I would say. Just wait till it comes out.
Yeah,
How much are
Because-
they?
Well, they were $500 before.
Uh-huh.
It's supposed to be getting cheaper, but I don't know what the price is going to be.
like
Okay.
All I will
probably
say
do.
is it's probably not worth it.
Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna start a Kickstarter, and we're gonna everybody who listens has to donate $50 to get Kyler a key
Oh no.
so we can play test it.
This is gonna live it.
See if it's actually a game.
Who knows? We'll see.
I'm very
will
interested
see.
with like the average Joe can just share his opinions on this, like what his experience is going to be.
That's what I was
Man.
wondering, why there wasn't anything from alpha playtesters. Like, you'd think somebody would have said something that would have shook everything. I mean, yeah, NDA, but also, when do people listen to those?
Well, they're very open about the development is the thing. Like there's so few games that will actually talk about like even just the tech side of how everything works. And they release very regular updates about how the game works. So there's almost no reason for them to talk about it besides people saying, yeah, this isn't a scam, it's a real game. And you got to be like, I don't believe you.
Yeah.
Tell me when you
We
have
shall
gameplay. I can't, there's an NDA.
Oh, and you
So-
have a confirmed scam artist as your head.
Yeah, also that.
Yeah.
And he did what? Like, there's a lot of layers to this. How do I?
He talked about it and he was still saying how Zango made great products and how they were very high quality. It's just grape juice. Grape juice.
for cancer patients.
Yeah.
Bravo.
We'll see. We will
We'll
see.
see. All right. We'll keep an eye on that.
This is
Is there any like a planned release date of any kind?
There was back in like 2018.
so no.
Yeah.
So
Sounds
So-
about right.
see you in
No.
2030.
Yeah, pretty
Maybe.
much.
All right. Well, thank you for that deep dive on something I've never heard of.
Oh yeah.
I learned a lot about multi-threads, and
Oh.
I didn't absorb any of that, but it
That's
sounds
okay.
incredible.
It's very complicated.
A lot of
Oh,
information.
one thing that they said too is they said that Unreal Engine is like a single threaded engine. Which was kind of weird because it's technically true, but also just false because the game loop is single threaded, but they put like other stuff on other threads, like the audio processing is put on its own separate thread. So that was just like, it's very weird for such a technical talk to just kind of gloss over that, but it's whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess, did anybody have anything else, or is that it for today?
Oh, that was my thing. I think we're just kind of looking forward to Evo next week, right?
Yeah. Soon didn't do his homework, so
Just found a few like dumb things. Like that was
give me one dumb thing. It's dumb. One dumb thing was Soon Hour. Here we go.
I was gonna say I mentioned earlier there's that article Doom fans go too far. They apparently one guy ported the original Doom onto a sex toy.
And this has been one dumb thing with.
Oh, apparently, did you know? I do have one thing. Did you guys know that apparently League of Legends, like Riot, was working on a Smash Bros. Style fighter?
Yeah.
Pool party.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't
and
know
they
that.
canceled it because of multiverses.
Well, they should have kept going.
With what? Like,
Yeah.
they canceled it because they saw what happened with multiverses and they got scared.
Oh, they saw what happened.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought they saw multiverse. They're like, oh no, we can't beat all these IPs.
No,
They saw how
They-
trash it was.
It was like, oh, that didn't go great, and I guess they just decided we're not even going to try.
Fair idea. Good.
You think
good to
we'll
look
ever
it
get
up.
the Riot MMO?
That's another thing that's in the works, which you don't know
because they
anything about.
canceled it, right? And then
They
they restarted it
restarted it.
in like 2020. So what? We're
Yeah.
probably I don't know 8 years from it. But the current dev rate of MMOs,
Ashes of Legends. That's what they're gonna release.
Ashes of Legends, Medieval Citizen.
And I'm not going to play it because it requires Vanguard.
Oh, Vanguard. Should talk about Vanguard sometime. That'd be cool.
We should. I should really do my own research and really. I mean, I've done a little bit here and there, and a lot of the negative stuff seems very true. I can't find too many positives about it. Every time I read a developer trying to explain the positives of Vanguard, it seemed like they were almost patronizing. Like you just don't understand. I remember specifically that one dev post where he was like, "You guys are just reading clickbait titles and stuff. You don't honestly understand this."
He threw like a bunch of buzzwords that didn't even make sense and stuff.
All I can remember is the response of seeing that this is our amount of cheaters per rank without Vanguard, and this is it with Vanguard. And so I forget which one of you it was, but you just went, "It's the same fucking graph."
Yeah, not a fan.
My major issue, I have like a bunch of them, but is the fact that what happens once we have multiple games that want something like Vanguard, which is a kernel level application constantly running in the background 24/7. Like it's one thing to have Vanguard alone as the only one that does it so far. But what happens when you have 12?
They're going to start fighting. Fucking Civil War going.
Dude.
They're going to shut each other down thinking you're trying to cheat.
Yeah.
Vanguard's going to need multi-thread processing.
Dude, that's the thing. Like, I understand that you use Vanguard to flag a PC if it's running something like suspicious. That makes sense. Okay. But why can it turn off the LEDs in my fan?
Yeah, that's very strange.
Like, why fans are suspicious?
Then just flag my PC as not able to play. Don't turn them off.
I agree 100%. Yeah, just kick me out of your client side stuff, or you're not your client, but your server side stuff. Why can you do that?
You could actually just cause damage to my PC with what you're doing
really?
Right now. And like,
yeah, it has. It's bricked people's PCs.
I used to have crashing issues back when Vanguard first released for
Valorant.
Yeah, Valorant. I was like, why the fuck is my computer having issues? Why am I crashing? I'm fucking done with this game. And uninstall Vanguard, which was a pain in the ass. And I was like, my crashes went away.
It's frustrating too, because all the questions I see people ask about it, it's always about like privacy concerns, which is the legitimate concern. But I've yet to see answers for why Vanguard like has this ability to do it. Like it just seems unnecessary. Like there's no reason why it can do these things.
Revenge against cheaters. Cheating my game, I set your PC on fire.
Actually, just start blowing up people's PCs. You start cheating.
Remember when they said how Vanguard doesn't have any like network access, but then like the entire League network went down
because of
Vanguard? Yeah, because of Vanguard. I thought it was ironic.
Yeah. Well, I thought we'd actually make time this time. And then we started talking about Vanguard.
It's never going to happen.
We'll never be on time. Who cares? I was just talking to my wife. I was like, I hate short podcasts because there's so many ads and intros and outros and listener emails and all stuff that's not what I want. And then it just gets repeated on a shorter interval.
Yeah.
And
we need a sponsor so we can have ads. That'd be cool.
Yeah. We might have a special guest next week too. Maybe he'll sponsor us.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I love Jacob. You should do all our ad reads.
You're Tommy Wiseau voice.
Tommy Wiseau ad reads.
As long as you give me a fucking script, I'll try.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Sponsors. We need a sponsor. This needs to happen. All right. Well, thank you all very much for listening. And if you know of any sponsors, please send them our way. No, we don't even. We'll do it for free. I just want to see Jacob. I just want to see the homie do an ad read. It'll be great.
Yeah.
Thank you very much again for your in-depth MMO discussion.
Oh yeah.
And thank you, gentlemen, for joining me. And I guess unless there's absolutely anything else, we'll see you next time.
Goodbye.
Bye.